Hello, Roine speaking.
Thank you for taking the time to do this interview. This is a tremendous honor for me being able to talk to you, being a huge fan of your bands such as Transatlantic and the Flower Kings, being able to talk about your collaboration with Jon Anderson. It's a tremendous honor to be able to talk to you.
Okay, nice talking to you.
So the first question is, how did this all come about?
Well, this is something that I think finally came about after we did meet and play about an hour of Yes songs on a cruise ship that went from Florida to the Bahamas, I think, about 2.5 years ago. So that was sort of the starting point, but I mean, looking back now, I remember that our record label boss, Thomas Weber, who is the guy who sort of connected us, he's been talking about the possibility for me to write and record something together with Jon, even like 3 or 4 years ago. And that came up, and for whatever reason it didn't really materialize at the time. There was a time when Jon was a little bit, his voice wasn't, that good. He had some medical issues at the time, so I can't really remember, but anyway, it sort of fell back into oblivion, and then Thomas was bringing it up again, and I think finally when we played on the boat, we were doing this like final show of this big boat trip with lots of progressive rock bands on board. Flower Kings was there, Transatlantic was there, and we played a set with Transatlantic, and then after we did that set, we brought Jon Anderson on stage, so we were doing Starship Trooper and Long Distance Run Around and You and I, and the opening track, or the opening side, I would say, on Topographic Oceans. So that was altogether about an hour of music. That's when we sort of connected at the first time. And then the day after the show, Thomas Weber, who was on the boat too, we had lunch, and he said again that, hey Roine, I think you really should try to do something together with Jon, to write music and see, where it will go. So that's how it started, and he contacted Jon, and I think Jon started sending me files, and we just took it from there, without knowing if it would ever be an album, to be honest. It was more like we were trying to write something together, and after a couple of weeks, couple of months, we could tell that, well, this is something that can actually work, we can create music even if we're not in the same room. We can send files back and forth, and I do something, and Jon is singing on it and sending something back to me, and I was, bit by bit, slowly modeling a bigger piece of music together. So
how did you know which direction that you wanted to go in for this album?
I think we didn't really. I mean, of course, given the legacy of Jon and being in Yes for so many years, there's always going to be, that's something you can't really ignore, that fact, there's something you can't erase. His history with Yes, so that's going to be there in some form, But apart from that, I think we were both kind of open-minded, and I think Jon said that, let's not aim at doing a progressive rock album, let's just try to do new music, whatever it's gonna be, take influences from folk music, from classical music, from pop music, from tribal music, from elsewhere, Africa or Asia or something like that, and so we just try to, probably the way that people worked in the 70s, taking influences from just about any kind of music, and fusing it with pop or rock, and then came progressive rock, as they say.
And that's the great thing about this album, is it doesn't feel like you're afraid of reaching any territory between both of you. You created music that you both feel very strong about, and it comes off very strong as a listener. And it's great to see two minds such as yourself and Jon being able to create such brand new ideas that very much sounds like both of you, but very brand new in 2016.
Yeah, it's probably easier for someone that's outside of this creation, and being inside the creation, it's it's very difficult to really tell, because sometimes people say, okay, can you tell me something about the music? What is it? And I say, I have no idea. It's music. It's music that, you know, came from experimenting and the way I work. And I think I'm pretty sure, we haven't talked about it, but I'm pretty sure that Jon works the same way. You know, we're very, what would be the right word? We're not really thinking so much. It's not like we have any dogmas or any certain criteria, you know, the way the music should go. It's not like we have a big major plan. It's more like whatever comes up is okay. If it sounds okay, it's okay, you know. If it sounds like good music to us, okay, it's in the song. So with an open mind, I think can be creative, and we're not thinking if it's going to be rock or blues or classical or jazz or tribal or whatever, you know. You can mix everything as long as you enjoy what you're doing, and you enjoy the way, you know, as you can imagine, the way the songs are shaping over a couple of weeks maybe. Jon starts sending me stuff, and then I try to model from that little piece of melody, put new chords to it, create the rhythms, you know, and then sending back stuff to him, and he respond to that, you know. So we're gradually, over a couple of weeks or maybe a month, we're building the song. So we are probably, in a way, I would say, as much surprised about the way the music is going as the listener. And I think that's a good thing, you know, because we want to surprise the listener a little bit. I mean, still within familiar, you know, territory, but because you have Jon's voice and you recognize it from Yes and all that, you know, and his solo albums, and you have my guitar playing, you know, and the way we model melodies and stuff like that, and Jon's lyrics and everything. So that's gonna be familiar. But then between the two of us, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's not gonna be a Jon Anderson solo album. It's not gonna be a Yes album. It's not gonna be a Flower Kings album. It's more like whatever comes from our mind at this time, you know, and 2015 or whenever we started creating, you know. It's like sort of a footprint, so to speak, of where our minds are at this time, you know, in life.
And I think it's a great representation of where both of you are right now. The more that I listen to the album, the more I'm hearing all the little nuances that are going on. And just like you said, it's hitting familiar territory with both you and Jon, but it reaches so much unfamiliar territory as well. And it just makes for such a great creative effort.
Yeah. It's supposed to be that way, you know. If you can surprise yourself, you can probably surprise other people too, you know. So and that's my well, let's say my policy for doing this. The way I wanted to work with this was to have a very open mind. Because sometimes, you know, well, Jon is sending me something, and then I'm thinking this is going this way, and maybe this doesn't fit, or he's asking for something, you know, can we try this in like an acoustic section? And I'm thinking maybe we should have something else, more like a wild fusion section in here, you know, because I'm thinking that would be exciting. And then I'm saying to myself, well, hey, wait a minute here. Maybe he's right. Maybe I should try this, you know, just to see where it goes. Because what he's doing is he's pushing me in a different direction, you know, and hopefully I'm pushing him in a different direction too. Because you can just work forever with stuff that you're very familiar with, you know. You have your sort of trademark things, you know, trademark whatever Flower Kings sound or way of writing, or he has his trademark Jon Anderson stuff. And if we're, you know, pushing just a little bit, you know, to the left, to the right, and suddenly you realize you're within some territory that's not super familiar, you know, and you have to just, you know, do the best you can with what you have and find stuff that you, in a way, can you surprise yourself. That's what I'm thinking, and so that's probably. But again, I think, I mean, having the album ready now and mixed and everything, it's I would say I'm probably too close to the creation at this point. You know, maybe I can look at the music in a different. Now it's like months and months and months of working with the album, mixing. So I heard the songs about 600 times. As you can imagine, it's like suddenly you're so much within the music, you're inside the music, and you can really see it clear the way that other people, if I would be just a fan, and Jon Anderson came out with an album with this guy, Roine Stolt, who I knew nothing about, I'm probably going to listen to it in a completely different way, Now being inside the music, it's a completely different thing, So I do understand all the details and all that stuff that's in there. I can't really tell what it is if people ask me, but hey, it is what it is. I'm just happy that people enjoy it.
And I'm absolutely one of them. It's already one of my favorite albums of 2016, and I can tell it's going to be one of my favorite albums for years to come.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's great.
So, is there a particular riff or a certain segment of the song where you realized that it was really going to start working with you and Jon, where you could feel that collaboration really starting to work?
Not really. I think 2 short snippets of things. I can't remember exactly now what it was, but there's probably something that's in one of the longer tracks. Just something, and I just took it. I took the melody, and I was thinking, okay, what can I do with this? And I probably sort of just put whatever guitar stuff in there, a couple of keyboard things, drums, bass, and that's what you do today. You work in a sequencer, so I can program stuff. And so you get an idea of where can this go, and that's how it started. And then we just it felt pretty okay, when I was sending it to him and he liked it. He said maybe a few changes here, and then he sent something else, and I was thinking, okay, how can I connect these 2 pieces of music, and it was like a sort of a seamless project, just running for weeks or even months, and I think there isn't really a point where we felt that this is gonna work. It probably was, but it's not like we said, okay, we have it, we got it. This is gonna work. Let's talk to the record company. It's more like it was growing slowly, and maybe I was thinking something and he was thinking something else. I have no idea really, because we didn't talk much about that. We were just working with the songs. So we were, just moving on to new ideas and new songs and new parts, and see how we could connect and reconnect, and we just, went on, And at some point, it probably was me who said to Jon that, hey, Jon, what do you think? This is okay? This is something you can sort of envision as an album, Are we sort of halfway, or are we going somewhere with this? And he probably replied, yeah, it's great. Yeah, let's do it. But it's kind of I don't know. The process as it was is more like we were just work, trying to do better things, trying to create greater stuff from what we had, try to find new melodies, new lyrics, etc., etc. And then it sort of comes to the point where we have to be practical about it, because we weren't talking about money, we weren't talking about any recording contract or anything like that. We were just working, and just there's got to be a point where we sort of stop and say, okay, we think, and now let's see if the record company is with us. I can't remember exactly when that was, but I would imagine it took us about half a year, maybe 6 or 7 months before we had something that we could say this is something that could be an album. And then we talked to the record company, and then we just kept working on it, changing stuff and, trying different things.
Well, again, it definitely worked out for the best as well, and I'm glad to see that there was no major clashing or anything that was going on. It felt like a good collaborative effort between both of you. It's so fantastic to see.
Yeah.
So,
yes, it's...
there is 4 main songs on the album, but it is split into 9 tracks. Was that a conscious effort to split the tracks, or was that from the label, or how did that go about?
Actually, there was, I think, just 3 tracks in the beginning. So I think if I remember right now, let's see, the second track and the 4th track was in the beginning one long track.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this is something I left pretty much to Jon to decide, because he was the one writing the lyrics. He had the ideas about the different sections, etc. So I pretty much went with whatever idea he had, and I think the idea of dividing these longer tracks into subtitles or subsections, that was something that came very late, when we were working with the mix and turning everything into the record comp to work with the album cover and all that, And then Jon suggested that we divide the songs into subsections and all that. And to me, it really doesn't matter, because when I listen to it in one go, I just, really doesn't matter. To me, it's still just a big piece of music. It's like whatever, all these old albums, whatever you listen to, Jethro Tull or Yes or Genesis back in the day, is just like a big piece of music. So this is more something that Jon had a vision of, how he wanted to sort of divide the songs and name them certain ways, and that's something that came when we were basically just finishing up the album, and doing the album artwork and all that.
And yeah, I'm the same way when I listen to an album as well. I want to be able to listen to it from start to finish and think of it as one piece of music rather than just a collection of songs. And this is a prime example of that, where it feels like a piece of music and not 9 different tracks.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now, I'm thinking, okay, this is the way that Jon wanted to do it, and I'm totally with him, the way we could divide it, and I mean, likewise, looking back to the 70s, when they did whatever, Close to the Edge or something like that, I remember that it was divided into certain song titles within the song Close to the Edge, whatever they were called, like Total Mass Retain, and I Get Up, I Get Down. I can't remember the titles of the song now, but when I listen to Close to the Edge, for me, it's just one song, It's Close to the Edge. It's not. I'm not thinking about the different sections of the song. And the same thing with, let's say, Genesis, Supper's Ready. To me, it's just Supper's Ready. It's not like divided into 5 or 6 pieces of music. So it's up to anyone to view the music or use the music the way they want. This is just something that came from Jon, and he wanted to do it this way, and I was totally happy doing it. So yeah, that's the way it turned out.
Oh, that is very cool. So, is there any chance that these songs are going to be performed live?
Yeah, well, this is something that Jon has spoken about for about a year or maybe more. Every now and then, when he gets excited, he's sending me these emails. This is going to be great. It's going to be great live, and we can do this. And he has lots of crazy, wild ideas about how it could be performed, with a big orchestra and stuff, and with surround sound, and all these just fantastic ideas, which I love. It's a great idea. I mean, let's see how far we can take if the album goes down well, and if we sell enough and generate enough interest. It's definitely possible, a bit depending on what's happening with his other projects, also with Trevor Rabin and Rick Wakeman. They're doing a tour and possibly an album. So we'll see what's going to happen next year but well, hey, I mean, a year is a long time, and I'm not thinking they're going to tour all year long. So definitely, because, Jon said many times that he wanted to do it live, and every time I was thinking, okay, let's wait and see, and maybe it's just him getting excited, about it. But I'd love to do it, and we have a great band, we have great musicians playing, so I'm thinking it could sound really great, if we get to that point.
Oh, very much so. Whether it's a one-off show or a mini tour or a full-fledged tour, just being able to know that these songs were performed live would be a great feat to be able to see.
Yeah, realistically, I would say to do a one-off show or something like that's not realistic. Because that's once you're gonna do concerts or you're gonna do tour, there's always like the artistic thing. You're looking into what could you do and what could excite the fans and all that, and that's probably where we are right now, because we're both excited about, okay, playing the music, and maybe as Jon says, okay, let's do this and let's do it surround sound and all, with all the artwork, swirling around on the stage and behind the band and behind the audience and everything, So it's a great idea, but I think then it's like the reality is, of course, the economics of it, So I'm thinking, okay, if we can sort of get together like whatever 10 shows in Europe and 10 shows in America, then suddenly we have maybe some backing from ticket sales and fans coming to see the show, and we can sort of realize this kind of a thing, So that's what I'm thinking. I don't think there is going to be any extensive touring, but whatever. I mean, what it takes, whatever, like 10 shows here, 10 shows in America, that would be great, and that would be worth the effort, rehearsing the music and getting it right and sounding right and everything,
Oh, very much so. And if it ever does hit America, I will absolutely love to be there to be able to see it live.
Yeah. I think many people will be interested, but we'll see. It's when the release date comes and reactions from press and fans, and see where it's going. It's like very difficult. I mean, up to this point, it's been all positive, but there's of touring. It's like money spent, and then you need to get the money spent back, and then you need to get some, to pay musicians and touring crew and all that, If we can do it, if we can find some kind of profit in it, I'm sure it's gonna happen.
Oh, very much so. So, is there anything else that you're going to be working on for this year?
Well, really, Flower Kings is put on hold for now because we've been going for 20 years, so it just felt like, okay, let's rest on that for a while, until we have something to say again. That feels right. Transatlantic, I don't think there's anything happening anytime soon. And then the other thing I'm doing at the moment is, well, I've been on tour with Steve Hackett, of course, for about half a year or more, doing 80 shows through Europe and United States and Canada. So that's been fun. That's been great fun. And at the moment, I'm rehearsing and writing because I'm doing an album with my old pals from my first professional band. I was in Kaipa in the 70s. So we're doing this thing with 3 guys from the original band, and we're writing new music, and we're playing gigs, and we're planning on touring. We've been playing the occasional gigs up to this, and now writing new music, and so we're going into a studio in about 3 weeks from now to record basic tracks, and gonna release the album in this, well, probably around September this year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's very retro. It's it's not that, it's different from whatever, Flower Kings or Transatlantic. It's more like kind of a retro 70s prog, organic prog, I don't know how to, Pink Floyd or that kind of focus, that kind of organic thing, So that's what's happening right now.
Oh, very cool. It's great to see how busy that you're staying as well, with all the different projects that you've had going on and all the ones that are currently going on now. And of course, working with such legends as Jon Anderson and Steve Hackett, it's been a fantastic honor to be able to talk to you with all of the endeavors that you got going on right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, but that's what I do. I gotta keep busy, I gotta work, and I gotta use my time, in a wise way, to do whatever I can do, to create new music, and to, well, if like the opportunity comes up, to work with someone like Steve Hackett or Jon, it's, of course, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna keep doing it, whatever comes up, and possibly work with these guys again, with Steve, and maybe another album with Jon when time comes. So, but I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. I'm keeping my mind open to new collaborations, because at this time in life, it's like you gotta treasure every day, every year. You can keep working. People are getting, people are dying. People are quitting music. They're, they're not healthy. They're, unfortunately, so much happening. So at this time, I'm just very grateful to be able to still work with music, to still have friends in music, and great opportunities to work and to be able to actually make some money, which is another thing that's troubling some people, with the downloads and Spotify and all that. It's a difficult time, but I've been lucky. So I'm just, it's just kind of a blessing to be able to be work with music and to make some decent money out of it. In this, most bands can't, most musicians can't. They do this thing, they do prog and they have daytime jobs. I haven't had a daytime job since 75, I think. It's a lifetime, so it's I'm grateful for every day, to be honest.
As very well you should be. I mean, with how hard that you work, with everything that you've accomplished and everything that you're continuing to accomplish, it's just fantastic to be able to see that you're still able to keep doing it in 2016 with hopefully no end in sight.
Yeah. There will be some end in sight, but I don't know when it's going to be the end. But it's still great. It's still fun to play shows. It's still fun to tour, and sometimes on a smaller scale, sometimes on a bigger scale with bigger audience. Which is really, it really doesn't matter that much to me. It's more like about the economics. But just be able to be playing shows is great, to meet an audience and to be able to create and record albums and just keep going. It's not like something that you should take for granted, because, as I said, for many bands and many musicians are struggling. Not only within this, the prog world that we are sort of operating in now, but in pop music and in music in general. You have the big stars, and of course they're doing well. Bands like Coldplay or Muse or Springsteen and all those guys. Of course they're doing well, but so many bands, most of the bands are not doing great. They're struggling. And here I am, and I'm not struggling. I'm doing okay. I'm not super rich, and I'm not doing an enormous amount of money, but I'm making enough money to sort of keep my head above the water and be kind of relaxed about the future and whatever comes in the next following 5 years at least, which is again a blessing. I don't know what else to say. It's like magic.
And honestly, in 2016, that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, I think it is, definitely.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you once again for taking this time to be able to talk about your brand new collaborative album with Jon Anderson, which is coming out June 24th through Inside Out Music. It has been a tremendous honor. And before we go, is there anything else that you would like to mention that I have not brought up yet?
Not really. I suppose we could talk a couple of hours, but about music in general.
Oh, I would love that if we had the time.
Yeah, but I have other interviews also. But no, not really. I think we covered most of it. We covered most of it, I think. So I think I'm pretty much happy with what's gone into the interview so far.